Okay, guys, so I do not remember when my last check-in was that I did for my process of finding a therapist, but I have an update and it's good news, I hope. These things change. But I tried again today to find a therapist, and I was just like, already set my mind that it was going to be complicated. It was going to be a struggle, all these things, blah, blah, blah. But, I still proceeded with it anyway because I know I really need to talk to someone about everything that I've been just going through. And it's not healthy to talk to family and friends because they cannot relate from a professional standpoint. If anything, they're going to make matters worse by adding their personal anecdotes to, what I'm experiencing. So I just, know that it's best to always speak to a professional and, to be able to move forward. So my biggest thing about finding a therapist is, and still is about finding someone that I could relate to, finding someone that I could feel comfortable speaking to, preferably someone of my culture, of my race, that can identify with, the struggles that I have, and perhaps maybe have resources to guide me, right? And then also another thing is, I don't want to just go to therapy just for the sake of just talking. I would love to work with a life coach. So those were my I guess specifics when I was, looking for a therapist. But at this time, with all these things happening internally and everything that I'm dealing with and juggling, I just realized that I don't have the time to get exactly what I want. I just need to speak to someone at this moment to kind of get things aired out, and then still, search for someone that meets my criteria if it doesn't work out with the therapist that I find. So that's my plan, right? Before I didn't have a plan. Before I was very adamant about what I wanted, and I was only looking for that. And if I didn't have that, then I opted out to get therapy at all. But now that I realize that was not really effective in helping me to move forward, so I created a new plan. And so just to kind of get the ball going and, kind of get myself under the umbrella of therapy. So I have 3 tips that I highly suggest to perhaps, those of you who are out there struggling with trying to find a therapist or struggling with the process of matchmaking. What I realize is that, a lot of these websites, especially if you have public health coverage, a lot of these websites are outdated. And it is very frustrating because you call multiple times and you go through, or you'll go on the website and you'll go through the list of contacts that they have on their website, and you realize that those individuals do not take your health coverage. So it's very frustrating. Or it may be a situation where, like I experienced, they told me that it was a screening process, and then it could take up to, I think she said 30 or 60 days or 90 days or something like that. I'm not really sure, but it was like a long process. And so that's frustrating as well. So the 3 tips that I have, to kind of help, those of you who might be struggling with this same issue, is to be strong. Be strong. Be strong. Be strong. Be strong. And know that weakness is also a strength. I don't mean like be strong in like a macho way, like, oh, I don't need help or anything like that. Be strong in your weakness. Know that, yes, you do need help. Know that, yes, you are vulnerable. Be honest with the struggle that you are experiencing. In my opinion, I feel like that's going to get you closer to recovery and closer to healing when you are strengthened in your weakness. Don't try to go through this life and say, you know what, I don't need therapy, forget this system is broke, and go on a rant like that. That's not going to help you, in the long run. So that's number one. Number two, I would say communicate effectively, as effectively as you can, to avoid as many roadblocks as possible. And I understand that this may be very difficult, because when you're going through something emotionally, the first thing that shuts down is your voice. The first thing that shuts down is your vocal chakra, right? So it's like you become silent. It's either you become silent or you become very angry, where you're screaming on the top of your lungs and nobody can still hear you because you're just making a whole lot of noise. So communicating through in a frustrating manner is not going to get us heard. It's only going to get us further ignored, and then it's going to lead to perhaps a Baker Act situation or something probably even worse. So I would say try to communicate as effective as possible to avoid as many roadblocks as possible. If it helps, do voice memos. If it helps, write in your journal. If it helps, just talk to yourself. If it helps, because you kind of rehearse what it is that you need and how are you feeling, so that when you do get connected to the right person and the right resources, you're able to articulate yourself in an effective manner. Number three is take a break and try again. This process can be very, very frustrating, especially when you feel like you're saying the same things over and over and over again and you're not getting any results. If you get to that breaking point, take a break. Just take a break from it for a little while. Keep it on your to-do list. Know that it's something that you still need to do, need to take care of. Don't allow it to absorb the best of you. Don't allow the frustration to fester. Just put it to the side. Put it on your to-do list and say, you know what, I'm a park this here right now, and I'm gonna get back to it later, because right now is not the time. I'm not getting through. I'm not getting results. It's okay. Now is not the time, So that's my 3 tips to this process of not allowing this system to make a mockery out of your condition. I feel like in real life, the system is really, really broke. It looks good. It sounds good. It feels good when it's being advertised on TV, when it's being spoken about on radio. It sounds very promising. But when you really live in this thing in real life, there's a lot of dead ends. There's a lot of roadblocks, and there's a lot of obstacle courses that we have to jump through. And we, as the victims, I hate to use that word, but it's the truth. We as the victims, we as the people in this community that's living this thing day to day in real life, we are at the short end of the stick. So we have to find our power so that we can get the help that we need. And I want to reiterate, your power is your weakness. That's where your power lies. Your power is not in you trying to be strong, you trying to be macho, you trying to be, oh, I got it, I don't need help. That's not where you're going to see results. You're going to see results when you surrender to your weakness, when you surrender to your condition, when you surrender to your vulnerabilities, and you recognize, like, listen, this is overwhelming me, this is frustrating me, I'm experiencing all these difficulties, I need help. And in that moment of surrender, then I personally feel like, things open up. And sometimes when we look for help in one direction, it might come in another direction until we're able to get the results that we need in that area. So I feel like, honestly, Sometimes it's just a timing process and it's a trusting process. Some people are able to get through immediately. Some people wait for years or perhaps never get the help that they really need, because this system, they so quick to want to put you on medication rather than, set you up with real life help day to day. Even though you might be on medication, you still need to be able to work with somebody to get the fundamentals of how to cope. You still need to be able to be assigned with someone to work through your problems and, process and unpack. And that's the frustrating piece, because although they tell us that the medicine is not a magic pill, they don't assign us up with the person that's going to help us and to collaborate with the medication. So me personally, I'm not on medication. I've tried 6 different medicines. If you've been following my story, you already know the backstory to that. But it's been almost 2 years since I've been discharged from being Baker acted, and I still have not been able to find a therapist. I still have not been able to get the help that I need. I just been holding on strong, for all this time, because every time I try to address this issue, it's always been roadblocks and challenges. So I just, want to encourage people who are perhaps going through the same thing and feel like this system is a joke. The system may be a joke, but you don't have to be the clown, right? So, take heed to these 3 tips. If you are worthy of the fight, you have a promising future. This is not your end. Don't let the system be your demise. You have to take back your power, because you're worth it. You are worth it. You have to take back your power because you are worth it. You don't have to be a victim. You don't have to continue to be a victim. You don't have to continue to feel like you're alone. There is help out there. We just have to be strong and patient and trust the process, that it's just a matter of time where we're going to find it and we're going to be able to move forward. So I feel like the first help that we need is within ourselves. It's not going to come from an institution. It's not going to come from a doctor. It's not going to come from any medication. It's going to come from within you. So if you take heed to these 3 tips that I just shared with you, that could be your starting point. I wish you luck on your journey, and I'll see y'all on the next one.